Hello, happy Monday. It is March the 12th, and welcome to this week's edition of The Weekend That Was. And it was a fantastic weekend if you're in the Midwest because Selection Sunday has come. The teams are locked. If you want a greater in depth um, version of my thoughts on the tournament upcoming, I will leave a link into my bracket break it down description video that I put up last night. So I'm going to mostly be skipping over anything concerned with that today because I went so in depth with it last night and will over the next couple days. And so the plan originally was is that I was going to be getting up at the crack of before dawn tomorrow, get on a flight, go home, and the weather has decided to say no, no going home for you. At least that early in the morning. I've been rebooked to the afternoon, so weather permitting, I will still be home tomorrow, just a lot later than I had planned. I'll find something to occupy my time with in the early morning. But them's the breaks. Last year, going home for the tournament, I tried to drive, and this year I am trying to fly to avoid getting stuck for 3 days because last year I got stuck in Ithaca, New York for 3 days in a little motel waiting for a nor'easter to blow through, and luck is just not on my side when it comes to getting home for the tournament. So I guess I won't be getting to Cincinnati until much later than planned, but that doesn't mean that I can't have a taste of Cincinnati tonight because what I am drinking today is a Cincinnati based beer from one of my favorite breweries, Rivertown Brewery and Barrel House, and it is one of my favorite beers that they do. They have their usuals like Divergent, which is their sour, which I love so much, but they also have some that they rotate from season to season, and I believe this one here comes out at the end of October, beginning of November, and it's one of my absolute favorite, not just beers out of this brewery, but beers in general because of how unique it is. It is called Death, and if you can see the label on it, it is a beautifully designed label on it this year. I am looking very much forward to adding this bottle to my collection of bottles that I give very high thoughts of that I have behind me as part of my little set. So, what's unique about this one? Well, it's a Russian Imperial Stout. It's a double Russian Imperial Stout, as a matter of fact. It is 11.7 alcohol by volume, but the flavor that gives it its uniqueness is ghost peppers, or as they call it, jolokia peppers. But it's essentially ghost peppers that give it its uniqueness, and it's you would think that it being brewed with a ghost chili would make it almost unbearable to drink. However, all the other flavors in it, including a little bit of chocolate, as you get with most stouts, make this extraordinarily tolerable. And it is a very big bottle, so I'm going to give myself a nice little pour here. It's got a lovely dark color to it. I'm going to try and set this up so that the bottle is facing the camera because it is just a beautiful, beautiful design. And here's to hoping the weather holds out tomorrow. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Let's get into it. Ooh. You get that hint of spice right off the bat, and then it comes down a little bit. Whenever I have somebody try this, I tell them, you're going to get hit with the spice right away. but it's not going to make your mouth feel like it's blazing on fire. It's going to be pleasantly warming. However, that was a very, very spicy first sip. Anyway, so that is at least a taste of home, given the fact that I'm not going to be home on time at least. And even if I get shut out throughout the entire day tomorrow, we'll see what Wednesday brings. I still have a extra day. I just really was looking forward to getting back, and it just seems like March Madness drives me mad in various other ways, especially when it comes to getting back home. But on to the really important stuff. Let's get into what happened this weekend in the world of sports outside of the NCAA tournament. And there is a lot to cover in the NFL for this particular weekend, including a little bit of a surprise move out of Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman was let go on Friday from the Seattle Seahawks. There was a lot of speculation as to where he was going to go, possibly east to New England or maybe to the Midwest somewhere. However, he's going to stay in division and play for the San Francisco 49ers, who have made some very impressive moves to show that they are ready to take a few steps up, giving Sherman this deal, as well as giving a long-term deal to Jimmy Garoppolo. But this deal is also, as I said in my Friday video, it needed to be done for the right price. And I feel like they're not giving extreme overpayment here. It's a 3-year deal worth $39.15 million. So we'll just if we round up, it's essentially a 3-year, $40 million deal for Patrick Sherman to play for the 49ers. And one of the things I like is people are speculating, well, is there a revenge factor in this or a vengeance factor? And straight up, yes. I believe in one of the interviews he gave after agreeing to the deal, yes, he admitted vengeance was part of his deal. He wants to prove to his former team that he's still got some gas left in the tank. We'll see how he plays coming off of those injuries, but I like the deal. We have the official league year beginning this Wednesday, but we're in that period where there's a little bit of wheeling and dealing. The Browns have already made quite a few moves. And today, the Bengals made a trade with the Bills. There you get Cordy Glenn to play left tackle for them. Hopefully fill a role that Andrew Whitworth left open when he left to go to Los Angeles last year. But what's fascinating to me is part of this deal is that the Bills and the Bengals swap their first round picks, which puts Buffalo up at 12. And there's going to be a lot of play for one of those quarterbacks, especially after the Bills acquire Tyrod Taylor in that deal. I still think Cleveland takes one of the quarterbacks, but with the Bills moving up, there's definitely a chance that there's going to be a quarterback there that they're going to want to take in that spot, whether it be Bradford or not Bradford. Goodness, I just had a mind blank. How about that? Everyone has this. Blooper reel right there. But Sam Darnold could be there. Who's the kid from Baker Mayfield? Baker Mayfield is the name I was trying to think of. So Baker Mayfield could be there. Darnold could be there. Rosen could be there. It all depends on who selects where. Given the amount of quarterbacks that they have and where some of these projections are, it could be some of the slim pickings of the end of that quarterback class. But at 12, I would expect that's where they will go with that. Kansas City made a couple of key cuts today. The Chiefs have released their starting safety Ron Parker and linebacker Tamba Ali. I believe those are just cost-cutting measures. I'm sure they feel that they can get some players equally or similarly built for cheaper. I'm fairly certain that was just a cap-cutting measure. And the Oakland Raiders made a move to cut cornerback Sam Smith. But there's another interesting part to this story. Last week we covered another Raiders player, I believe it was Aldon Smith. So when I first read this, I thought we were talking about Aldon Smith like we were last week, where he was in rehab for some domestic issues and such. This is Sean Smith, a cornerback who is going to prison for assault. The incident involves his sister's boyfriend. He agreed to plead guilty and will be serving 1 year in prison. So he will be out. Not only will he be out for this entire year, I happen to think that this could be the end of his career. We'll see. And then the Dolphins, in a couple interesting moves, plan to move on from Ndamukong Suh and Lawrence Timmons, who are two fascinating personalities defensively. Again, purely speculation, cap-cutting measures. But it'll be interesting to see if Ndamukong Suh gets picked up. I would actually like to see him go back to Detroit, where he made his name originally. Detroit seems pretty happy with their defensive line, but if there's a fit for him, wouldn't mind seeing him there. And Lawrence Timmons, why not a Bengal? Why not a Bengal? Why not a Patriot? We'll see what they have in store coming up, because the full free agent period, where you can actually start signing your players, begins Wednesday. We're getting closer and closer to all the baseball opening days. That's something to be looking forward to. The NBA is drawing to a close. I'm very happy with how my Celtics have looked. Cleveland is an interesting case. They lost to the Lakers last night to fall to fourth. And they came out hot right out of the trade deadline. And I'm of the theory that a lot of teams who are hot out of trade deadlines or at the beginning of the year, when they've done a lot of overhauls, are going to be hot out of the gate, because you have to learn how to defend their style. So they won their first 2-3 games, I think, coming out of the trade deadline, and looked like they were playing significantly better. But recently it's sort of been this year's same old Cleveland Cavaliers. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't make it out of the second round, especially the way they play defense. They just don't. The Toronto Raptors have been very impressive, and the Celtics are not far behind in second place. But after that, it's a big leap from 2 to 3 to 4. As a matter, it's a much closer between 3 to 8 than it is, 2 to 3. So I think that we're pretty safe in assuming that Cleveland and Toronto, Boston and Toronto are going to be the top 2 seeds in the East. Out West, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say it's going to be Houston and Golden State. But also just like out East, there's a lot of movement that can be made in the 3 through 8 spots. It's going to be fun to see what happens, especially with Derrick Rose going to Minnesota to hopefully get. I don't think his career is over. I'd like to see him pick it back up, and if anyone can help him pick it up, it's going to be Coach Tibbs. But I don't know how much he has left in the tank. He's had so many knee issues, and then he just didn't pan out in New York and didn't pan out in Cleveland. So all the best to Derrick Rose. I hope he gets it together. Um, let's see, and then of course coming out of the weekend, a couple of other big news stories. Tiger Woods is sort of back. He finished one stroke behind to finish second place in the Valspar Championship yesterday. But it was all about Saturday. Saturday, Tiger made moves up the leaderboard that I haven't seen him make in years. And it was fun. It was fun. I loved watching him play when I was a youngster, and it's great to see him back. Back. He still hasn't won. He left a lot short yesterday, but I look at him finishing second, and I go, it's not long before he takes a win. This weekend he plays at Bay Hill, and in spite of the fact that he hasn't won the Masters I don't think he's won the Masters since they redesigned the course. I wouldn't count him out at the Masters. I just wouldn't. I think you'd be stupid to sort of count him out at the Masters at this point, given how well he's been playing. Now, this week at Bay Hill is going to be interesting from the point that it'll be the first time he's not just played back-to-back, but it'll be his third tournament in a row. I'd like to see how well he holds up as we go into his third tournament in a row. If he makes the cut, that's 12 rounds of golf in 3 weeks. And while I'm happy to see him making cuts again, I'm also going to be looking to see the toll it's taking on his body, especially seeing as he hasn't done this for so many years. But to say he's on his way back, I'm down with that. And in the world of NASCAR, who's going to stop Kevin Harvick right now? That's 3 wins in a row. Now, I understand that last week coming out of, I believe it was Vegas, there were some infractions that cost him his bonus points. Well, yesterday at Phoenix, he just got them back. 3 wins in 4 races this year for Kevin Harvick. That is a great start to the season. And last year I was following the Martin Truex Jr. story because it was fantastic. A small team guy, single team, winning the championship. It was great. And now I'm sitting here going, wow, Kevin Harvick is just dominating in the same way Truex was last year. So right now you have to say that going into, as they can stay out west, but going as we get further along the season, after a hot start like that, how can Kevin Harvick not be the favorite for the championship right now? Now, I've seen it happen too with this playoff system where the number 1 overall seed going into the chase has 1 or 2 bad races to start it off, and they just get knocked out right away. That's not outside of the realm of possibility, but I will not discount Kevin Harvick one bit. Plus, the team and the equipment he has behind him is usually pretty reliable, so I am on Team Harvick for this one. I'm still rooting for you, Martin Truex. I want to see you repeat. And I am also a Hendrick guy, so come on, Jimmy Johnson, get your crap together. But gotta give a little bit of love to Kevin Harvick. It's been a fantastic start to the season for him. And that's all I'm going to cover in the world of sports for this week. Hopefully I'll have some more updates coming out of this week. Tomorrow I could put up a video tomorrow during the day, However, I'm going to be doing a lot of monitoring for all the traveling I'm going to have to do. Um, if I do get canceled out completely tomorrow, I may post something. We'll see. I'm not planning on it, but it could be a pleasant surprise. Maybe I'll do something fun, um, and just a little bit different. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow, how about this? Tomorrow, if I get completely snowed out, let's do a beer tasting. Like, let's do a couple different ones. I've got a fun little selection to choose from. So if I get snowed out tomorrow, let's just have some fun and do a. We're not traveling, so let's do a beer tasting video. Um, and even if I don't, that actually sounds like a fun idea for something. Hopefully, in the near future, we'll see. But let's switch over to some cinema news. I had every intention, by the way, of seeing A Wrinkle in Time this weekend. But with I was just busy this weekend. The NCAA tournament and all these conference championships took up a lot of my free time this weekend, and I decided that it was more important for me to stick to my specialty, which is college basketball at this time of year. But A Wrinkle in Time is definitely on my radar as a movie that I really want to see. I know the reviews for it have been kind of meh, very, very much on the meh side, but it's certainly on my hit list, and if I get completely, maybe if I get completely canceled out tomorrow, I'll have time to go see that. But um, taking number one in the box office this weekend again was Black Panther. Black Panther pulled in another $41 million. Its domestic total gross right now stands at $562 million, and worldwide it is over $1 billion. I gotta give it up to Black Panther. Those are impressive numbers, and it's currently on pace to knock off Age of Ultron as Marvel's most lucrative film. And if it pulls that off, congratulations again. But I'll be interested again. Infinity War, Part 3. Avengers 3, Infinity War coming up. Will it do those numbers? I don't know if it will. There's a lot going up around the time of it, but they moved it up a week, so they obviously have a lot of confidence in it. A Wrinkle in Time was number 2 at 33 million. I think Disney is disappointed at 33 million, and most movies making $33 million in an opening weekend is a good mark or a decent mark. But for Disney, which put so much marketing into A Wrinkle in Time and had so much out there for A Wrinkle in Time, the reviews have been so mixed, and it shows in the box office numbers. I think Disney should be disappointed in those numbers. I really feel like they thought they would do significantly more than that, and it just shows that even if you're Disney, if the reviews aren't fantastic, people aren't always going to go see your movie. Number 3 is Strangers Pray at Night at 10 million. It's a movie that wasn't really on my radar. I believe it's in the horror genre, and anyone that knows me knows that I do not do horror very well at all. As a matter of fact, you need to give me a lot of this to get me through a horror movie night. In spite of the fact that I did do it. Number 4 is Red Sparrow, pulling in 8 million. Number 5 is Game Night, which pulled in another 7.8 million. So that's Game Night has pulled in $45 million total. That's not bad. It was a mediumly budgeted comedy, and I've heard that it's pretty good. I want to go and give it a fair shot, especially after I saw the trailer. And I'm a little late to the party, but it looks interesting. It looks funny. It looks like a good laugh. Um, a couple of noteworthy a couple of just side notes. Number 7 was the Death Wish remake, which is doing the typical Bruce Willis movie thing where it has an okay opening weekend and then just dive bombs. It pulled in just over 6.5 million. Its 2-week total is 23.8 million. So for what they thought they were going to make, I slightly disappointed, probably. The 2 bombs of the weekend go to the Hurricane Heist at number 9, to which I didn't know anything about this, but what I have seen a lot of promotions for is the movie that came in at number 11 in the box office, and that's Gringo. I've seen some trailers for this, and it looks awful. And I've heard a lot of reviewers, specifically from Collider and Schmoes, tell me, yes, it's not good, and it's not, and it's that's a shame because it's got a pretty good cast. I know Charlize Theron is part of that cast, but yeah, I've heard it's not good. I wanted to see it. I probably still will, just based on morbid curiosity, and it's sort of, if I'm gonna, as a guy who does reviews on the side of my sports, it would be useful for me to go see it. But that's got to be one of the bigger flops. That's got to be one of the biggest flops of the year, and it's certainly one of the biggest flops for this weekend. But on the positive side of things, we got a little news out of South by Southwest where they did a premiere of Ready Player One that it's not bad. It's actually quite good. And when I saw the name Steven Spielberg attached to the project, I'm like, yes, that is the visionary mind that I want behind the movie adaptation to this novel. What I'm expecting when I go see this in a few weeks is Mad Max meets the video game world, or Mad Max meets Tron in a way. And I haven't read full reviews yet because I've been at work, my normal job all day. I've pretty much just gotten home, set all this up, and gotten right to filming. But the Twitter reactions I saw last night were very, very positive, and one of the funniest jokes was, I can't remember who it came from. I'd have to go back and find it, but it was essentially them calling out people who were like, yeah, Ready Player One is pretty good. Did you expect anything less from the person who put out E.T. and Schindler's List in the same, I don't know if they came out in the same year, but they definitely came out. He definitely was a part of both. I have hopes. I wanted it to be good. It sounds like it's going to be good, but I need to see Wrinkle in Time first. This weekend, we also get a video game adaptation coming out. I believe the new Tomb Raider drops this weekend. I haven't seen anything about that yet, but given the recent track record of video game movies, I'm not getting my hopes up for it, but I will say I did like Warcraft. I thought that they did a pretty good job with Warcraft, and because I played a lot of World of Warcraft, I understood a lot of the lore they were going for, but I also understand that they screwed up a few things, and there were a few things that bothered me in that movie. But overall, I thought that the CGI was good. I thought as a film it was a pretty decent. And it's one of the better. I think it's been one of the better video game adaptations that we've had recently. Because Assassin's Creed was just junk, and but we'll see how we'll see how Tomb Raider goes. If I have some free time next week when I get back, I'll give it a fair shot. Just because that's the kind of guy I am. I want to give everything a fair shot. Um, I think that's about all I have to cover today. I'm sorry that it's not as deep and detailed that I was hoping for, but I spent a lot of time coming into this on the phone trying to see if I can get, my flight switched and such. So it's been a just the process of trying to get out of here has been a trip. But my schedule this week, barring any getting stuck here for more than a day, will be will be thus as far as I know. I will do if I'm completely snowed out tomorrow, I'll probably do a video that is not sports, not movies. We'll have some fun. We'll do a beer tasting. I'll pick a selection of 3, maybe 4 beers that I have in my collection that I've been waiting to get into, and we will have a sort of one-on internet discussion about them. But if all goes according to plan, I will do my traveling on either tomorrow or Wednesday. I have my GoPro set. I was hoping to do a travel vlog tomorrow, but whenever I get going, I will try to set something up so that we have some sort of fun little travel vlog sort of deal. Hopefully, if I get that filmed tomorrow, I'll get that edited and put together and uploaded on Wednesday morning. If it turns out that I have to film it on Wednesday, I will piece it together and put it together on Thursday. I do know that on Wednesday night, after the last of the playing games, I will be posting I will be filling out my bracket on video and giving some quick analysis as to for all the first round games as they come. Pick some upsets, hopefully, pick some winners. And then on Thursday and Friday, I definitely know that I'm going to be posting videos after the last game's play. Who won? Who was upset? Were there buzzer beaters? How were the finishes? How were the games? But I will film those as soon as the last game ends, or if the last game is a blowout, I'll start it early. But those will be up on Thursday evening late and Friday evening late. And when I say late, it may not get up until close to midnight, depending on how the games are. Because I know a lot of them are slated to begin around 9-ish, I think. But overtimes could potentially play into that. Close games take a while sometimes because of all the timeouts you call and all the fouls that are given. And then it'll just sort of be me just using my GoPro to sort of film as I travel around home. I'm hoping to do a little video in a fun little market called Jungle Gyms that has a fantastic beer cave. And if you're a fan of hot stuff like this beer, it's got a hot sauce, essentially imagine a beer cave, but for hot sauces. So many hot sauces. It's a fun market in Cincinnati. I'd love to do some filming there as we go. But it'll also be about spending some time with my family. But I'm really there, hopefully, to watch some basketball with my dad, enjoy some local Cincinnati beers. But those are my current plans, subject to change. And my scheduled day back is Monday, so next week on Monday, I might have a weekend that was, but I'd filmed that earlier in the day, and it'll go up earlier in the day than usual. Again, barring weather, because weather has just been the bane of my existence whenever I try to get home for the tournament. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, as part of my either my travel vlog or my beer tasting video, I'll tell the whole story of what happened to me last year when I tried to go home, because it actually is in its own little way, it is a fun little disaster story. But that's all I have for you for this week's the weekend that was, and hopefully I get home tomorrow. I'm hoping that the weather holds off for just enough of a window. So until the next time I see you, hopefully from Cincinnati, Ohio, cheers.